Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise, get straight to the heart of it.
That's the plan.
And today, we are really getting into something fascinating. Not just watching a trailer, but sort of deconstructing a cinematic puzzle box.
Oh, yeah. Zach Cregger's new horror film, Weapons.
Exactly. It's dropped this teaser that's got everyone talking, buzzing online,
Mm-hmm.
and we're diving deep using Ryan Thomas Levy's really brilliant Breakdown in Theories article as our guide.
It's a great piece. Really digs in.
So our mission, for you listening, is to pull back the layers on this really unsettling world hinted at in the trailer.
Figure out what those glimpses actually mean.
Right, and understand why this film is already being talked about as, like, horror's next big thing, the next mind bender.
Without feeling overwhelmed by all the speculation.
Precisely. And trust me, the potential answers here, they seem far more disturbing than you might even expect.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's start with that chilling mystery the article kicks off with, that cold open. It just sets the stage perfectly.
Yeah, lay it out.
Okay, imagine this. 17 kids. Pennsylvania town. They vanish, all at exactly 2:17 a.m. on some random Wednesday.
Just gone.
But here's the kicker. They don't scream. They don't struggle. The article says they just walk calmly into the night. No explanation.
Right, that specific detail.
When I first read that, my mind immediately went, horror red flag. Massive one. What was your initial reaction? Like, what genre alarm started ringing for you?
Oh, instantly unsettling, isn't it? But what's fascinating, and what the trailer seems to lean into, is that eerie calm.
Yes.
The article points out, and it's key, they don't seem evil, not in the usual way, but activated. That's the word used.
Activated. Okay. And the trailer shows examples.
Oh, yeah. Specific ones. There's a child just standing perfectly still, middle of the street. A cop car actually runs into them.
Oh, wow.
And another kid just walking, blank-faced, right through an intersection. Doesn't care about traffic, red lights, anything. Just gone somewhere else mentally.
That's not Children of the Corn, then. Not kids being overtly malevolent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No pitchforks and chanting. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
It feels, I don't know, much more like The Signal, perhaps. Or even The Leftovers. That kind of vibe.
Okay.
It's this sudden, totally unexplained behavioral rupture. It suggests something more like a psychological infection, maybe a contagion.
Okay, so if the kids are the carriers, the ones activated.
Then the adults are the casualties. That seems to be the dynamic hinted at.
Right, because what happens next in the trailer involving the adults? It's absolutely wild.
It really is. If the kids are somehow changed, then whatever that change is, it's like it's ricocheting back through the adult.
Ricocheting. I like that.
And the impact is what's profound
Hmm.
and visceral. Really disturbing stuff.
Which leads us straight into, I think, arguably the most chilling theory. The one that completely reframes everything. The meaning behind the title itself. Weapons.
Mm-hmm.
The article puts forward this idea, and maybe the title actually refers to the kids.
That the children are the weapon.
Yeah. And the trailer backs this up with these shots of adults just unraveling in increasingly violent, completely unexplainable ways.
Give us some examples in the trailer breakdown.
Okay, you see a woman just blank-faced, stabbing herself in the cheek with a fork. Just stabbing. The description says she looks like she's somewhere else entirely.
Jeez.
Then there's a man, looks a lot like Josh Brolin, being held down while he's vomiting. Just gallons of thick black sludge.
Gallons, okay.
The article speculates maybe it's blood, maybe tinted brown, but whatever it is, it's just a truly disturbing, visceral image.
And wasn't there one more? The one that really stands out?
Yes. Probably the most disturbing shot, like you said. A woman standing motionless, candlelit kitchen, and she just calmly sets herself on fire over the stove.
Oh, my God.
And the child, likely the same one seen elsewhere, maybe Matthew, who might be Brolin's son in the film, just stands there, watching.
Just watching. Wow. And what stands out there, what the source really emphasizes, is that it doesn't seem random.
No, not like random madness.
It feels coordinated. Or maybe even induced behavior, like something is making them do this.
Right.
So whatever force touched the kids maybe infected them, maybe enlightened them in some horrific way, or just awakened something latent. It's now hitting the adult.
Ricocheting back.
Exactly. And the children, even though they're quiet, they are clearly not passive observers in this. The article calls them the match.
Oh, the match. Okay.
And that's where that idea of them being weapons really starts to click, doesn't it, for the audience watching that trailer?
It absolutely does. And this feels very Zach Cregger, this whole setup. It sounds like he might be pulling another one of his famous marketing moves.
You mean like with Barbarian?
Exactly. A barbarian-level bait and switch. Remember how that trailer, it famously only showed, what, the first 15 minutes?
Yeah, and a whole major character, Justin Long, wasn't even in the marketing at all. It rewarded people going in totally blind.
Totally. And Weapons seems to be playing a similar game. The article points out major cast members are missing in action from this teaser.
Okay.
Brian Tyree Henry, Austin Abrams, June Diane Raphael. Even Carrie Christopher, who's the only child star listed prominently and might be playing that kid Mackie we mentioned. They're just not there.
So is that always, do you think, deliberate strategy, pure misdirection? Or could it sometimes just be, tight production protecting spoilers, kind of blurring the lines between what's truly hidden versus just not revealed yet?
That's a really good question. Is it strategy or just secrecy?
The article definitely leans towards deliberate misdirection.
Yeah.
It poses that critical question, right?
Yes.
What does it actually mean if we're only seeing the absolute surface of this story? Or, even more chillingly, what if the real horror hasn't even been hinted at yet?
Oof. That possibility.
It suggests a depth, a layering that most horror trailers just don't bother with. They usually give away the store.
True. This plays on anticipation instead, the fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
And beyond just the theories about what's hidden, the trailer itself is an experience. I mean, watching it, it really felt like a masterclass in building dread for me. The editing. It's cut like an anxiety attack. It splices between this shot of a darkened doorknob repeatedly, then bursts of gore, panic screams, and the word weapons just painted blood red across the frame.
Okay, yeah, that quick cutting.
And that doorknob you mentioned, that felt like the biggest visual through line. It's this repeated shot that just builds like a ticking bomb.
Describe it again.
Hand approaches the knob, cut away. Hand gets closer, cut away again. Building.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's incredibly effective visually. But it's more than just visual rhythm, right? It's deeply symbolic.
You think so? How?
Well, that doorknob, it isn't just a recurring image. It symbolizes someone or maybe something about to let something in.
A literal doorway.
A literal doorway to madness. Or maybe to unleashing whatever this horror is.
Okay, I see that. And connecting back to that image you highlighted earlier, the child watching the parent self-immolate.
Yeah, the centerpiece image.
It just perfectly captures what the article calls the uncanny valley of domestic horror.
Uncanny valley. Explain that a bit.
That deeply unsettling feeling when something totally familiar, totally normal like a kitchen, a parent becomes terrifyingly wrong. Where routine family life just breaks, snaps under this immense, inexplicable pressure.
Yeah, the familiar becoming monstrous, that's potent horror territory.
So with all these unsettling clues, these disturbing images, you have to wonder, what's Zach Cregger's grand vision behind it all?
Right, what's the driving influence?
Well, the article unearths something truly surprising, an influence he cited for Weapons. Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia.
Magnolia. Okay,
Yeah.
That's unexpected for a horror film.
Right. At first, it makes you tilt your head a bit. I'm
Yeah.
like, Magnolia.
But Cregger apparently explained his reasoning. What did he say?
He wanted Weapons to have Magnolia-specific qualities. It's melancholy, yet sometimes comedic situations.
Okay.
It's regularly cloudy, yet still colorful visual palette.
Interesting.
And maybe most importantly, it's sprawling ensemble cast with fully developed characters. He loves that unapologetic, this is an epic feel about Magnolia, that bold scale.
So, ambition, scale, character depth.
Yeah.
That makes a bit more sense.
And apparently the influence is even in the tiny details. Get this. Alden Ehrenreich's mustache in the film. It's a deliberate nod to John C. Reilly's in Magnolia.
Huh. Okay, that's specific. A little Easter egg.
So it's a fascinating blend, isn't it? But how do you see that sprawling ensemble or those melancholy yet comedic situations actually playing out in a horror film? Is it about finding moments of like dark humor amidst the dread or something more fundamental?
That's the question. I think it might be more the latter. More fundamental. While Magnolia tracked, crumbling emotional lives.
Right. Interconnected stories of personal breakdown.
Weapon seems like it might be tracing the psychic disintegration of an entire town.
Wow.
But doing it through what the article really aptly describes as dread-soaked cosmic WTF energy genre lens.
Cosmic WTF energy. I like that phrase.
Yeah, that feeling of inexplicable, pervasive dread where the world itself just feels fundamentally off, wrong, unstable.
And Cregger himself seems to confirm this ambition. Didn't he say something to Entertainment Weekly?
He did. He said Weapons is more ambitious in almost every way. Bigger, weirder movie than Barbarian.
It's
explicitly.
bigger and weirder.
And he promised it's weirder and twistier and bigger with more actors, bigger set pieces, just more.
Okay. So connecting this ambition, this PTA influence, what's the bigger picture here? What kind of film could this be?
Well, if we put it all together, this could be aiming to be like the first major horror epic that owes as much to Paul Thomas Anderson's kind of emotional collage filmmaking
Yeah.
as it does to the bleak, intense tension you get in something like Hereditary, or maybe even the social breakdown horror of The Crazies.
That is a really intriguing combination. Melancholy epic meets cosmic dread.
Potentially groundbreaking if he pulls it off.
Which brings us, fittingly, to the article's final theory. The one that's maybe the most provocative of all.
Okay, let's hear it.
It suggests the children, they aren't possessed. Not in the traditional sense.
Not possessed, but
Aware.
aware of what?
That's the chilling part. They've glimpsed some unnameable truth. Something horrifying.
And
And contagious. Contagious knowledge.
yeah, like once you see it, you can't unsee it. It echoes inside you, corrodes, it spreads.
Wow.
And the implication of that is profound, right?
Right.
The kids don't leave their homes because they're abducted by some monster.
Hmm.
They leave because they know something.
They've seen behind the curtain.
Exactly. And that knowledge, that awful truth they've glimpsed, that's what's turning every adult in their town, in Maybrook, into a weapon of their own destruction.
So the knowledge itself is the infection, the weapon.
It seems that way. Like the awareness itself breaks them.
So, okay, thinking about this. Beyond the jump scares, the gore, the visceral horror we see in the trailer, what's the real terror Weapons seems to be tapping into based on this analysis?
It feels deeper than just surface scares.
Right. It's not just a creature feature or a standard slasher. It sounds like it's trying to be this chilling mirror, reflecting our own anxieties, maybe?
About what, specifically?
Things like, I don't know, crumbling communities, the silence or perceived strangeness of a new generation. Maybe even the generational trauma or baggage we pass down.
Yeah, those themes seem plausible. It suggests the true monster isn't necessarily a demon or a killer.
But maybe a dissolving society, a kind of collective mind sickness, where even our children somehow become instruments of our own undoing.
That fits the theory. The core ideas from the source seem pretty clear when you lay them out like that.
Let's recap them. 1, the kids might be the weapons themselves. Calm, controlled, fundamentally changed.
2, the adults are the ones cracking wide open, self-harming, hallucinating, burning themselves, bleeding black sludge, utter breakdown.
And 3, the true villain might not be a person or even a creature at all, but an idea, a contagious, destructive truth.
A terrifying thought.
It really is. And that kind of wraps up our deep dive into this incredibly intriguing world Zach Cregger is building with weapons.
Based on just this trailer and these theories, it is definitely shaping up to be something unique and terrifying.
Yeah, those comparisons to Hereditary feel earned, at least in terms of potential impact and dread.
We'll so wait and see.
We will. Just a reminder for everyone listening, Weapons is currently set to hit theaters August 8, 2025.
Mark your calendars. Or maybe don't, if you scare easily.
True. So after diving deep into all these insights, all these disturbing possibilities, here's a final thought to leave you with.
Go on.
What unnameable truth do you think those children might have glimpsed? What kind of knowledge could be so powerful, so awful, that it could unravel an entire town from the inside out?
Something to chew on.
Definitely something to chew on. Until next time.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.